Chiefs Kingdom. We are back, and we're with a new name. The AP Breakdown Show is here for you on the Arrowhead Pride YouTube page. I am Ron Kopp Jr. at Ron_Kopp. I am the lead analyst at arrowheadpride.com. With me, as always, as last year, I should say. We had a good time last year, Caleb. Caleb James at CJ Scoobs. We're back. We're back, ready to break down some film, Caleb. We got some preseason week one. But before we get into all that, I mean, yeah, it's a new little title for the show, AP Breakdown. We're trying to refresh it. I think it's just going to be me and you, Caleb, this year. I don't know how you're feeling about this season going into it. Just me and you rocking the YouTube film breakdowns.
No, we got a little bit of a rebrand going on, but honestly, man, I'm excited to be back on this. It's been a while. We've had quite the hiatus. A lot of things happened over the last 6 months or so, but here over some of these trips going back up to St. Joe to watch the team here over the course of the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think we decided that we, came to the decision we were going to try to bring something back or do something like this on a weekly basis. And here we are. Even, we're even ready to go for the preseason.
We got to be right now. We got the all 22. There's no way we weren't gonna drop something. No, you hit on that for sure. It's been a weird offseason for Arrowhead Pride. Shout out all the loyal listeners, the loyal followers, y'all that have reached out. Shout out Foolish Club Media, my guys over there, our guys. Steven Serta producing a lot of the shows that did kind of go extinct under the SB Nation umbrella, unfortunately. But hey, you know what? YouTube page, we are here. So we're your weekly show. Just come on. We'll probably be doing this either during the preseason. It'll probably be just recorded videos. But hey, once that regular season hits, once everyone's fired up on a Tuesday evening to talk Chiefs, we'll definitely be hitting the live stream. Caleb and I will be giving you live breakdown of the previous game, that Sunday's game. Or shoot, whatever day they freaking play on this year, Caleb. But yeah, so shoot. So we're here. Preseason week one is in the books. We're headed into week two already. We're recording this Tuesday night. What are your thoughts on training camp, preseason? We went up to training camp a few times together. We were able to see the team. Kind of just general thoughts on the team so far. What are the vibes? What are you feeling like?
Well, I mean, they're getting ready to do something unprecedented. Sorry, like no team's ever had a real chance to go do this whole three-peat thing, and not a team. There's probably hasn't been too many teams that have been in the position with the kind of firepower. It's funny because the Chiefs are coming off of the back-to-back Super Bowl championships, but here they go. Coming out here with new faces on key positions, and they even look a little bit better in some of the spots than they did on the last year's Super Bowl team. Like, you've got like different wide receivers in the mix, and they're looking explosive and fast, and they're getting people excited, and they're starting to remind people, oh yeah, when the Chiefs offense is on, it's on. You have a rookie left tackle potentially getting ready to start. You've got a bunch of new guys kind of around the defense that are still going to be jumping in. You've got guys stepping up already. Defensive line, linebackers are seeing a lot more guys. And then, the cornerback unit's been one of the groups to watch. But there's just been all these different little storylines here and there that have made it – I think they've made it an interesting camp, about as interesting as it can be for a team coming back off of a couple of Super Bowl victories. So, I mean, it's been interesting. There hasn't really been too many dull moments. There's been plenty of conversation starters all the way from, who's going to be left tackle to what is Luis Rees-Sammet's role on the team.
Yeah, I'll break the ice there. Probably not a lot of Luis Rees-Sammet film getting broken down here until he proves it. Until he proves it, we'll see. He's looking a little better than maybe I expected. No, you're right. No, I came into this camp fired up. The offense a little revamped with some new weapons, like you mentioned. Although, gosh, Hollywood Brown already injured. That sucks. But you're right. You talk about probably the biggest X factor for the offense this year. That rookie left tackle, Kingsley Suamataia. Suamataia. There you go. I got it. I got it, people. I know how to say it. Let's start out there. Let's just hop into it because I am interested in your thoughts. You had the thread on Twitter, people following you, saw you break down, his plays, against the Jaguars. again, the starters only played one drive, and I was surprised, I will say, as you're pulling it up, I was surprised that he didn't play further. I'm surprised that the first team offensive line just didn't play another possession with Carson Wentz because the Jacksonville starters were still in, and I felt really bad for the second team OL. But no, I think Kingsley gave us just a little sneak peek, but enough to break it down, Caleb.
Yep, I'm still getting it pulled up here. So, real quick, headed into camp, we're not really sure who the exact starter is because Wanya Morris did play last season. There was ideas that it would be Kingsley, but pretty much since the day we were up in St. Joe till now, there's been no doubt really with the Chiefs coaching staff on who the starter at left tackle is going to be. And I kind of thought maybe they'd let Kingsley play a couple series just to get his feet wet. He got the same treatment as all the other starters. He was in, he was out. And there's not a lot we can break down off of 6 snaps, right? Not a ton we can break down, but there's some good film. He did some good stuff. He did some bad things, but it's the preseason. This is his professional debut. So let's just start it out. And the first thing we see is the Chiefs are just going to run this little run action look, Mahomes rollout. They do this a lot. So really, number 76 there, all he's got to do is come out, sell a couple of hard run steps, and then kind of settle in. And Mahomes doing Mahomes things to Hollywood there, and that's the play I think Hollywood might have gotten hurt on.
And I'll say real quick just to cut in, Jacksonville jumped the Chiefs here. They were wanting that play action shot. Xavier Worthy was going deep on a post, and Jacksonville just blitzed. Mahomes did a great job adjusting, right, and getting rid of it. But this was definitely supposed to be that everyone talked about, right, them going deep that first play. They were trying to. Jacksonville just kind of blitzed it. But that's what the play was there.
And let's just take a look at Suamataia. And he just comes out. He does get a little bit crossed over there. You don't want to quite see that, but he settles down, and then he throws that inside hand. He's trying to just push the defender to the outside. The edge almost tries to work back in, but he kind of mirrors him over, follows him over there. Doesn't really give up too much. This is really just an icebreaker play for the rookie. It's hard to mess this play up as the left tackle, kind of just something for him to get comfortable there, get rolling into the game. But as we come down here and pull, what's that?
Get his feet wet,
Get his feet wet a little bit.
No, and honestly, it's kind of a good representation of what's going to happen all year, right? Like the Chiefs, and they've been doing it, since Orlando, with all their left tackles recently, they're going to protect them with scheme.
Definitely going to protect him with scheme. I thought this was interesting, though. Second rep of the game, they do go with a true pass protection set, and he doesn't have any chip help from anyone because Pacheco's out on a route, which I do like seeing that. But we see here out of the stance, he does stay. He is pretty vertical out of the stance. He's turned a little bit, but I do like just how vertical he is. He's trying to he's really trying to emphasize the weight on his inside foot and staying light with the outside foot. He's really got a pretty good relationship between himself, the pass rusher, and Mahomes. He's not oversetting or doing anything crazy like that. He's staying patient. Like to see the posture a little bit better. We like to see the posture a little bit better because he's going to get a little bit aggressive. He's trying to throw this quick left hand right here, but 41 comes in and he's going to throw the hand down. He hits him like a little club rip combo right there. And this is a problem we saw from him a couple of times in camp. You saw this in the one-on-one pass pro drill. He does lunge a little bit. He's an aggressive guy. He wants to get his hands on first because he's got great upper body strength. He's got a solid punch, but he does get beat. And if this play goes on a little bit longer, he's going to be at risk of, getting bent around the arc by the edge. He does get just a little bit on him, and he's kind of moving his feet at the end. Mahomes gets the ball away. No problem. You just don't want to see this because he's close, but his timing's not quite right, and he's kind of leaned forward just a little bit. And if he's just a second better here, he's going to catch this edge rusher in a bad spot. He's going to hit him right in his chest when this guy's doing the jump and kind of his little jump chop here. But instead he gets ripped down. So a play to build on for sure there.
That's Josh Hines Allen too. And shout out the new name. But yeah, that's a premier pass rusher. That's a pretty strong test first go of it. But yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it's going to be important that he is able to go against these top end guys because he's going to Trey Hendrickson, he's going to be lined up against him in week 2. And then he's going to see, Nick Bosa. He's going to see Max Crosby twice. He's going to see quite a few great defensive ends, throughout the course of this thing. Against the Lions, we'll see if maybe Aiden Hutchinson goes out there for a snap or two. We'll see what happens there. This is more of just a Pacheco play. His job on this play is just to kind of gap hinge. They're running power. Actually, shout out Mike Caliendo. He actually played a pretty good game. He actually looks a lot better as a center than a guard. He's not going against Chris Jones every play. Who could have assumed that? But yeah, I mean the Jags. Just do a little extra breakdown. The Jags get caught slanting the wrong way. Trey and Creed wash their guys down. Kingsley locks it down. JT working his way up gets just enough, and Pacheco has just this big wide lane. Creed doing a good job fighting to the end, but we'll see more of that here later on. Hopefully we see more of Mr. Pacheco and some of that stuff here very soon.
Yeah, I think one thing in camp with Kingsley that popped was just, especially on the backside of zone runs. We didn't really get to see him do that this game, but the backside of zone runs, he just flies off the ball. So I'm excited to see some of that.
Yeah, he's real quick. And this is just a run rep. He's the tackle on an inside run play. Would like to see him stay on this a little bit better. He comes in. I thought his feet were a little clunky. You want to see him kind of open up with that. You want to see him open up with that left foot, and he kind of opens it up. He kind of like pivots off of his toe there. You want to see it be more kind of an open where he's not pivoting off of the toe. And then he does have a good angle, but he kind of like hops that right foot in instead of just like firing his feet in and, firing it down. He's like kind of got this narrow base, and this hurts him because defensive end's already got his hands on. His hands are down here at the guy's thighs. Don't like that. He kind of comes in, but he does come in. I do like he is attempting to do some triple extension once he does get in. He is locking on. You can see just that overwhelming strength and power he does have because he does stand the defensive end up, and he doesn't even have inside hands here. Can you imagine how much better this would look if he had his hands on the inside, had just a little bit better pad level? But I like that. He was fighting. He's going to get pulled here a little bit at the end, but it is what it is. It's a solid, it's a solid block there against the defensive end. And then last play for the offense. And for the offense, it really was like a pretty good showing. They kick a field goal. Rashee Rice dropped a pass, but at the same time, it's like we're not really worried too much about that. We saw what we needed to see. Mahomes, Kelsey, Pacheco. You saw the offensive line with some good rips in the run game. You saw, it's all going to be there. Harrison Butker nailed the field goal. But what I thought was interesting on third down, this is the play that they didn't quite convert, but they leave Kingsley again by himself out here, and he doesn't have any chip help. As a matter of fact, I think Pacheco is going to be back out on another route, which I like seeing. I like seeing that a lot. But we see this here, and he stays vertical at first. I really do like that. He does have that good inside presence. He's not just going to go flying up the field. He's going to stay real patient. He's still staying patient, and this time he does connect. This defensive end's coming to kind of bring in a power move, and I do like that he does connect his hands. Now, they're still a bit outside, but this time he doesn't lunge, just times it up well. And now you can see like some of that upper body strength. This is kind of crazy. He's not winning the inside hand battle. His hands are on the outside. He's got to get that taken care of, or he's going to end up getting called. He's going to end up getting called for some holding penalties here. But he's got this guy. He's got the edge locked up right now, and he's like fighting. He's actually starting to anchor himself down. He did have the good anchor in college, good lower body strength. You're seeing that here because this guy is getting no push on him, and his hands aren't inside. So you can imagine what happens if he improves those hands a little bit. And that's something people always got to remember. He is only 21 years old, and there is the scramble by Mahomes. This isn't really anything to do so much with the offensive line to me. Even Juwan Taylor is like in position to play his guy if Mahomes just stands there in the pocket. This is just Mahomes seeing Kelsey, seeing Rashee Rice, both starting to flow the same way and knowing Rashee's got a step and Kelsey's taking two. Just want to pull that one in, but
no, you're right. You're right about that. Mahomes definitely should have hung in there. He like he just saw a little bit of an inside move, that flash, and just like you said, he knew Rice would be over there. He knew Kelsey would make it over there. But yeah, I was a little disappointed in that play in Mahomes, honestly, because that could have been an easy first down completion if he just kind of hangs in there, lets his offensive line work.
You'd almost like to see him like just stand in there and just toss it to Rasheed right here.
Exactly.
Or just kind of stand and lead him into the hash, because they're they're preoccupied right now. So I think that's Cisco. I think if he just leads Rasheed a little bit, stands in the pocket and leads Rasheed a little bit, he's probably catches it. He might have some cover from Kelsey and be off to the races. But it is what it is, man. Even it's preseason for everybody. I mean, before the show, I've got all my notifications going off on here, so it's preseason for everybody.
Well, yeah. So I kind of interrupted your kind of final. So yeah, what's your kind of final synopsis of Kingsley from week one? Because I'll just say that just from that and just from the first watch, it was pretty expected of what we've all seen and what we and what we should expect. I don't think it was anything less or more. But what do you think?
I mean, he's 21-year-old left tackle getting ready to start in the NFL for the Chiefs, nonetheless. And people, you want to think back a little bit. Okay, Eric Fisher didn't even start for the Chiefs at left tackle. They put him on the right side his first season. Wanya Morris started last year at left tackle because they had issues with tackle depth for one, and they had no one else that could go out there and do it. So, I mean, I think that the confidence they must have in him is extremely high for him to be able to be out there as consistently as he is, to be able to see him out there. I want to see a bigger sample size, obviously. I think we might be getting ready to see that this week coming up. But, I mean, just overall, I think there's going to be those growing pains. We're going to have to get ready for it because not a lot of 21-year-olds are going to be starting at left tackle in the NFL. He's one of the very few that does have those physical attributes to where he can go out there and compete right away. It's just going to be the fun thing for him to watch this year is going to be to see his technique week 1 versus week 17 versus the wild card weekend. See how much improvement he makes there, how much smarter, how much quicker he gets when he gets adjusted to the speed. He's got a big target. He's going to have a big target on his back, man. I mean, rookie left tackle, job is to protect Mahomes. There's going to be a lot of, there's going to be a lot of heat coming his way. So I hope he's ready for it. But the Chiefs seem confident that he will be.
Yeah, no, and I think the technique point is the right one because he's 21 years old. Like there's going to be times he gets beat physically. There's going to be times he gets beat just, by a really good player talent-wise. But as long as we're seeing some progress with the technique just being, more consistent every play, you talked about that hand timing, timing up the punch with the feet. I feel like that's something like that is definitely his biggest thing where it just, he just needs to bring his feet with him to the block sometimes, or, just time it up again, with his punch. So definitely excited to see his progress. I think you're right. Preseason week 2 will be the longest stretch the starters will play. So excited to see that at home against the Lions. But shoot, let's flip over to defense. Let's look at Felix Anudike-Uzomah's day because he was actually one of the busiest Chiefs players on the field. He played the most snaps of any defensive lineman, playing all the way from the first defensive possession, or I should say the second defensive possession, with the starters all the way into the fourth quarter. And I do think that has a little bit to do with the depth, right, of what they have at defensive end. I mean, it's Truman Jones behind the active rotation guys, and I think it's Carney. Carney's another guy. So, yeah, I think that was kind of it. But Felix also could use all the reps, right? And so what you're going to – and there was something to learn from these reps for sure because what you're going to get against the starting offensive line, this is a 3rd and medium on that second drive, about 3rd and 5. Dime personnel, right? Spags goes the dime in the 3rd down situations. And so what you have is Felix over that left tackle. Mike Dana gets pushed inside. You have Wharton and Karlaftis. And so this – you replace Chris Jones with Wharton. This might be what your dime down, front 4 looks like. I would pretty much say it will be what the front 4 looks like. Turk Wharton does have a case to push Dana back out in Felix's place and rush from inside. But shoot, Felix, what he does, and this is something he did really well last year, is just has a good, prying in, he has that good leverage. But honestly, what all this is a really good setup overall. So first of all, coming off the ball fast, you love to see that. Stays square to the line of scrimmage, so he really does sell that upfield for a few steps. Gets Cam Robinson to widen, opens that inside shoulder, and I just love how quick and explosive he is to the inside shoulder. Gets all the way through, and I love the hand extension at the end too, to try to disrupt the pass. I just think that's good pressure, and that's again what he did last year. That's what he was good at last year. But I do think he just came off the ball a little faster and just had a little more lean to him. That's why he kind of got in there better. This is that next play. It's a 4th and medium. Jaguars went for it. This isn't necessarily, an impressive pass rush, but what I do like about it is I do think he just plays with good awareness of the ball. You see he's going to try to press the back of the pocket, which I will say he comes in a little wide if he wants to be that, if he wants that to be the achievement there. You probably want to press, Cam a little quicker if you want to press the back of the pocket. But he just has that. I think what he honestly is happening is he kind of feels or sees the pressure developing over here, sees Cochran, and can kind of just subtly feel Lawrence, starting to step up that way. Because I'm just impressed with how he's starting to turn and move towards Lawrence right here. And I just think that's good ball, because if Cochran's, does get kind of tripped up or blocked up here, Felix does have a chance to be tripping up Lawrence and get the credit for that sack. So I think that's just good ball. I think Felix, playing with his head on a swivel a little bit. And those were the only 2 pass rushes he had with the first team. But again, I do think you're going to see more of that on those pass downs, on those dime downs. But as the game went on, still saw some pass rush stuff from him. I thought this was a nice attempt at a move from him. Little cross chop action. So this is Walker Little. I mean, he's played in the NFL, so I mean, it's not nobody that he's going against at left tackle. But basically, cross chop. He's gonna, act like he's going speed to power. He's gonna set it up like that. He's gonna act like he's going into his chest, or at least make it look like that. And then boom, he's gonna try to chop down his hands, cross his body right all the way to the other side, and then try to, usually, that, with the hump move kind of gets you through. But unfortunately, he doesn't, execute the chop. Right? His, Walker's able to keep his hands in there to an extent. But I just love his hand usage here. Finishes with a rip through, just has really clean usage there. And then just, the ankle flexion too, to kind of just bend around, turn that corner, almost get the sack. I think
could have been a hold too.
Yeah, honestly.
Like it's close. Like if you could run that back, man, he is so close to just having to have Walker Little be able to just grab him. I mean, you get right here and then like right there when he's kind of got him like that. That's close. If Trevor Lawrence hangs in there or rolls out to the right instead of going back underneath and he doesn't have to run the full circle in, Walker Little's probably going to get a handful of that shoulder pad, and then that's going to be a 15-yard penalty. He tried to kind of go back down to the hip. It was a weak attempt because he just got beat with the quickness. But, I mean, I like that rep a lot, to be honest.
I know. I did too. I think it's cool to see Felix try a pretty, not complex, but just kind of an advanced pass rush move. Yannick Ngakoue kind of made that famous. He was the best at the cross chop. But the one thing we saw from Felix that, wasn't the best was definitely, he just doesn't bring out the same. He doesn't come off the ball the same. He doesn't have the same, I think pop, at the block engagement that he needs, to take on these blocks. These are tight ends kind of controlling the block at first, right? This is one particular play that was bad. Although again, he's keeping his eyes on the ball and he's reacting to the ball. Now you're going to see him draw a hold here because he is again eyes up, and that time he's controlling the block a little more. But again, it's just you don't want to be hung up so much on these tight ends. You should be able to come off a little quicker than maybe he is here. But again, you got to give him credit for coming off these blocks, being active, where the ball is. This one was a nice play where he just rips by the tackle. So I wanted to finish on that. But, I just think some of these plays just kind of show maybe that he does still have a ways to go as maybe a rundown defender. If tight ends are kind of moving him, controlling him off the snap. What are your thoughts here, Caleb, on Felix, kind of on rundowns?
They'll see some good and bad. It didn't look the greatest when like some of those like guys that have play a lot were out there. He makes some plays against the later string of guys. My thing is though, when Omenihu does come back, and by the way, I thought Malik Herring and Tershawn Wharton both play good football games. That's important because I think they're both going to be guys that make the roster here. But I think the important thing with that is to know, the running game's not really going to be. I still don't think we're going to see him much in the running game. I still think it's going to be a lot of pass down because you're going to have guys like Herring who early on can come in on some of those rundowns. Some downs Chris Jones is going to be out there. Mike Dana, obviously, George Karlaftis. You have like a decent group in there of defensive ends that are all pretty solid at stopping the run. To where they don't necessarily have to rely on him.
Yeah, I'm with you lockstep for sure. I think that's the way it's going to play out.
And then just, back to the passing stuff. I mean, he's starting to show that bend and the quickness around the edge that you've been waiting to see. He's still got some work to do on that. We'll see how it goes out. But I mean, you're seeing the signs of encouragement right there. I mean, anything you can get from him this year is probably going to be a positive out of that. I'll be curious to see how he's looking later on, though.
Yeah, and I wanted to finish with this one just because I do think it's a good rep of Felix, holding his gap, really, coming off the ball stronger. I feel like this is a stronger, get off for him on a rundown than you saw in some of the other clips. Manning his gap, sticking his nose in there. And again, if other Chiefs defenders kind of hold their gaps, that might have been a goal line stop. It was not because of him that the Jaguars punched that in. So that's what we got. Caleb, we're looking ahead to preseason week 2. Again, the starters will be playing the most, probably they will all this off season. So anything you're looking forward to before we get out of here?
I'm just looking forward to seeing, some more reps for those guys. I'm also curious to see though. I talked about this briefly. I think that the amount of snaps that guys play in the preseason is kind of where they stand on the coaches' radar. Kingsley played 6 snaps. We didn't see him. Transversely, you saw like FAU and then Josh Williams. They both played like 30 or 40 snaps in week 1 of the preseason. Those are guys who the coaches are trying to get to step up and compete, obviously, or they want to take a good look and really evaluate what they have. This game, this week you are going to see some of those reps, a lot more reps for the starters, for the first group of guys. I'll be curious to see how many more, though. And then after that, you'd be kind of curious to see what the different rotations look like. Hopefully we get to see Wanya Morris in a little action at maybe left guard or just something like that. Maybe take a little peek there.
Yeah, I'll say I'm interested to see more of the cornerback battle. We didn't get to see much from anybody besides Joshua Williams this game. And just no one standing out. I think Jalen Watson's probably just going to end up being the guy. I think he's steady, Mr. Reliable. So definitely looking forward to that. Hope it sounds like we'll have plenty to break down next week. We're excited to get this back going. Appreciate everyone that watches. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. I'll have our names at the bottom right there, at Ron_Kopp, at CJ Scoobs. We put out a bunch of film clips. This is just a sprinkle of what we do. We can't fit it all onto here. I mean, we're even going overtime right now, and we barely had much to talk about. So that's what we like to do. So shout out everyone listening, shout out everyone watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the AP YouTube page. We'll be doing this more often coming up. We'll be getting ready to the journey to the 3-peat. All right, y'all. Chiefs Kingdom, we're out. See you next time.